What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your man, Marv Francois.
And I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
And welcome to the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 29 of the Hold My Nuggets podcast. I am your host with the most, Marv Francois. To my side is the chiseled Adonis. We're very happy to have you here. How you feeling today, my brother?
Sensational, man. Sensational. Yeah. I mean, this past Sunday was great. Pittsburgh moved on to 3-0. Then Miami Heat advanced to the NBA Finals. Life could not get any better, man.
I cannot share those sentiments. My team is doing bad, so I don't really. I mean, yeah, y'all are doing good. Congratulations on the finals.
What happened to your team?
Well, we don't know. We are there's a lot of things that are going bad in the NFC East that we just rather not talk about. I think Roger Goodell should enforce something that just removes the NFC East from the playoffs altogether this season. I don't want to see no team from the NFC East in the postseason at all, because at this one it's atrocious.
But it's only 3 weeks into
No, it's okay. Throw it away. Throw it all away. Just put them to the side.
Is that what your tagline is? Hashtag it's okay, throw them away.
It's okay, throw them away. You understand? Because at this point, something's got to give. I don't know what the hell is going on.
What about the football team? They're number one in the division.
Who's the football team?
Yeah, from Washington.
Yeah. Are they really number one?
Yeah, Washington no skins.
No.
They're 1 and 2.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're 1 and 2.
Are they really number one in the?
Yeah,
are they really?
Yeah, they're number one.
Throw it away.
No, Dallas is tied. They're also,
No, because Dallas is 1 and 2. Washington is 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Yeah,
throw it all away.
I think Washington has a division win. If I'm not mistaken, they beat the Eagles.
They did beat the Eagles.
They have a division win.
When Wentz got sacked like 40 times.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Yeah,
we don't
Young was out there chasing them.
Yeah, I see what you did there. No, see, this is why you get the big bucks, and I am broke. But
here we go.
That's neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 29 is here. We made it. I didn't know we was going to get this far, to be honest with you.
You say this every episode.
I really and truly didn't.
We literally control the episodes that we upload.
Right. But what it is that, they don't want to see us win.
Who is this they?
They don't want to see us finish.
Who is this they?
The haters. You understand? The ones that told us that we couldn't go and get the Chiseled Adonis merch, which will be available sometime soon. I see what you're doing.
You mean the haters that thought Miami wasn't going to make it to the final?
You
mean the haters who thought Miami was going to lose to Indiana? Yeah. And what happened? We took out the sweep around your road front door before you got to sweep around mine. There went Victor Oladipo. There went Sabonis, but he didn't play. He still got caught up in the duster. Brother got swept. Put him out with the garbage. Then we moved on next. Who was next? It was the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, here came the veal. Here came the deer. All right, here comes two-time reigning, defending, undisputed MVP of the league, defensive player of the year. Only 3 people in NBA history have ever won the defensive player of the year and the MVP. In the same season. Michael Jeffrey Jordan and Hakeem I block everything Olajuwon. And then here comes Giannis Umpo. And what happened? Gentleman sweep. Let me put on my suit.
Sweep.
Gentleman sweep. We put on a suit and then we started to sing. Sweep around your own front door before you got to sweep around mine. And what happened? You had discount Kobe Bryant in the appearance. Chris Middleton could not get the job done.
Couldn't get it done.
All right? You had everybody in Milwaukee thought they was going to move on to the finals. Not this year. And then what happened? You go against the NBA's darling, all right, in the Eastern Conference. Here comes the Boston Celtics. Oh, it don't matter. We got all of these young people on our team. Jason Tatum. Here comes my son Deuce. And what they did, only won Deuce games. They didn't get the job done. You need to win 4, my brother. Here comes the smartest Marcus. Evidently, you weren't too smart. Didn't get the job done. Gordon Hayward came over here. I don't want to see the birth of my child. Well, fuck them kids and fuck your advancement to the NBA Finals, brother. You going home. With your rapist mustache. It's not going down like that. I
didn't take it that far.
All right?
Comments do
maybe it wasn't a rapist mustache. That's kind of fun. Brother's a very good guy.
Yeah,
very good guy.
That's a hard conversation to have when you get home. Imagine missing the birth of your child to not even make it to the final.
It's on the record.
And it's on record.
It's on the record.
I would hope your wife isn't petty.
Exactly. And for Jaylen Brown, let me tell you this much. It's going to be Meet the Browns because you're going home to meet your folks, brother. You're not advancing to the NBA Finals. It's over. Take the hell out of love. It's over, brother. And Kemba Walker. Well, guess what? You walk in to the locker room and getting aboard the plane because you just got off the L train, brother. All right? And everybody in Boston, even Brad Stevens. There's no reason to go play on this brother's name. His name is Brad. You were born to be a loser. All right? You didn't get the job done. And everybody in Boston moving on to consider themselves written down the death note because their dreams of continuing the NBA playoffs has been absolutely deleted.
And worse than that, they're going home stinky.
Exactly. Going home stinky. Upset. Don't even take a shower. Can't hit the showers.
Go home. Hop on a plane and go home.
Because you can no longer extend your stay inside of the bubble. All right? And all three of these teams that people thought Miami was going to fix and to lose to, and what happened? They moved on, they beat them. And here we are in the NBA Finals taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. And I can't wait, man. I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy to be here.
You know what? I give you credit where credit is due because I know a lot of people won't. You predicted this.
Yes, I did.
I believe it was. You posted the video.
Oh, yeah.
It was October. It was on Halloween. He
Yep.
predicted. He said the Miami Heat are going to the NBA Finals. Nobody believed him. Matter of fact, take it even further before that. People, when Jimmy Butler announced that he was going to sign with that Miami, everybody and their grandmother thought it was a glamour move, that he just wanted to be there just for the fun and the attention. And no. That brother came to get what his last name says he gets, which is buckets.
Yep.
Jimmy Buckets, all right, and the Miami Heat are going to the NBA Finals where they will play the Los Angeles Clippers. Hell no. The Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, to see who will come out on top as the NBA champion of the 2019 to 2020 season. This is going to be a battle for, first and foremost, prayers out to Stephen A. Smith. It's funny because a couple of months ago, he actually said that one of his dreams was to have the LA Lakers play the Miami Heat in the finals, but for locations. You know what I'm saying? Because they fly back and forth between the cities.
It's Lala.
It's Lala.
It's
Miami.
Beach.
You understand? It's different. So, but now they're spending it in the bubble, so I don't even really forget.
Yeah, you can only imagine the stress that his hairline's going to continue to recede even further.
It's going to sit behind his ears.
It's wild, man, because his forehead is in the 21st century. His hairline is back in civil rights, so it's not where you want to be.
It's not looking good for you, bro.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not focused on Stephen A. Smith's hairline, and we are not focused on the lolly-lulelo losers that are the Boston Celtics or the Clippers or anybody else who didn't make the NBA championship. Focus on two teams, the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, who will play tomorrow by the time you see the podcast today. Game one.
Oh, yeah.
To see who's going to come out on top. Now, brother, I got to ask you, I feel like I know what your answer is going to be. But for the sake of all that's good and lovely, who's winning it all? How many games? And why?
Give me Miami in 7. Give me Miami in 7. And let me tell you why. All right. First and foremost, coming out the gate, game one, we know how LeBron James operates. He will vet the Miami Heat to see how they will play. I have Miami winning the first game. Okay. All right. You want to know why? Because Miami they don't live and die by the three, but they're a better 3-point shooting team than the Los Angeles Lakers. Right. And the Lakers, as good as LeBron is, as good as AD is, we've seen it time in and time again. Where these guys come out here and they play low, they don't come out extremely high energy. They wait on LeBron or AD to get things started. When the second unit comes in, if LeBron and AD don't get the job done, that second unit comes in flat. Kuzma doesn't play good basketball unless LeBron's on the floor. Let's just be honest, he's extremely inconsistent. His best game this postseason has been 18 points. Tyler Hero's outdone him double time, all right? Then Danny Green, that brother selling bricks. Put him on the front line for President Trump. He'd make working on the wall, all right? Then KCP, you're never too sure what's going to happen with this brother. He's inconsistent. And I'm not too sure how aggressive Anthony Davis will play. One game, you'll see him dominating the paint. The very next game, now all of a sudden, this brother's a jump shooter, all right? I expect LeBron to do what he does, but I expect Miami to come out there and play their brand of basketball. Because when they go small and they play their small ball, they actually can go and score, Houston. They can get the job done. So I expect those guys to win game one. Lakers will respond in game two. And then from that point, we're going to have ourselves a series. I don't think there'll be a single blowout in this series at all.
Not at all.
At all. I think every single game's going to come down to the wire. Miami don't drive automatic. Those brothers got the clutch in the car, but at the exact same time, LA's got the clutch in the car. Maybe my bias may be speaking for why I believe Miami will come out on top. I expect a sensational series, but I got the Heat winning in 7. Only reason why I think it's going to go to 7 is because LeBron will not allow himself to lose in 5, lose in 6, lose in 4 in a season where they got the spirit of Kobe Bryant watching. I do not think LeBron will allow that to happen, but I'll tell you this much. What he's going to allow to happen is losing in 7. And it's going to be the 7 complete. We're going to take out our Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We call on the spirit of Bandit Keith, and here comes the 7 completed because it will be another championship for the Lord of the Rings, that being Pat Riley. It'll be another championship for the most Eric of Spoelstras. And finally, Miami Heat will rule the NBA again.
Are you finished?
And that's all I got to say about that.
Are you finished? I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to look at the camera when I say it. Listen to me and listen to me good. Jimmy Butler Jay Cutler, all right? Swiffer Sweeper Duster, all right? Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6! Tyler Hero, Superhero, My Hero Academia, Lakers in 6. Let me talk to you, all right? I've been the same way you, since the beginning of the season, you have been First off, it's very interesting how this has turned out, because we actually predicted the finals perfectly. I don't remember ever predicting which team was going to make the Eastern Conference. You did that. But I predicted which team was going to make the Western Conference. Wapa, here we are.
As did I.
I've been saying since day one, all right? Run the tape if you don't believe me. It's just something about this year where LeBron James and these Los Angeles Lakers have to get it done. You got to understand, year 17... right? This man is still playing at the top of his game. He's still a walking trip dub. Led the league in assists coming into the bubble. He's playing out of his mind. We've never seen anything like this for a player of his level to play at this point at their point in their career. It's absolutely ridiculous. Even when you look at Anthony Davis, remember coming into the transition where he was going to start playing for the Lakers, the talk of the town was his injury history.
Yep.
Anthony Davis has a very riddled injury history. He's never played a full season of basketball since coming into the NBA. You understand? So there was a lot of concern about that, but he's been able to remain healthy, right? Especially in the bubble. So kudos to that. But I'm looking at this Los Angeles Lakers team, man. I'm looking at this team, and I know Miami is the more well-coached team. I know Miami has a deeper roster. I know in terms of momentum, all of it is on Miami's side. Moreover, do not underestimate the emotional and the mental side of what comes with the game of basketball, because Miami hears all the chirping.
Oh, absolutely.
They understand well and clear that they are the clear-cut underdogs coming into the series. I think the it's like 60-1 or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Some crazy number. So if anything, that only adds fuel to their fire for them to come in, because the way that they've been playing this whole season is that they've understood that they were the underdogs coming into it. That's what's got them there. That's what fueled them to get to this point. Now you add on to that, Lakers fans across the board should be scared shitless. But I just can't bet against that man, Bron.
That's fair.
I can't do it, man. I'll go as far if it's not Lakers in 6, then of course Lakers. I'm not going to disrespect the Miami Heat and say Lakers in 5. They're too talented. They're too good. And you make a very valid point. They are going to fight for every bucket on every play. No plays off. You understand? It's going to be a dogfight. Really and truly, it is. And you said another thing that was interesting, where you said that in Game 1, LeBron is going to do what he usually does, which is vet. You cannot. There is no vetting. You got to go in there. You got to come for throats. You understand? Pause. Because in a series like this, against a team like this, I don't know what it is about Jimmy Butler, but the morale of the team, the mystique of this team is different than anything I think we've ever seen. You understand? You got to understand, on any other team, this brother's probably the second best player. You understand? With any other team with a superstar. But on this team, with these players, they are playing out of their mind. However, I can't bet against Bron. It's just something about this year. I don't know if it's because of the passing of Kobe. I don't know if it's because the level that Bron is playing at, but I got Lakers in 6. My only concern, however, is we know who the number 1 is.
Yep.
We know who the number 2 is.
Yep.
You said something very interesting about Denver that we can relate to the Lakers. We don't really know who their number 3 is. One game is Rondo. Another game, KCP comes out of nowhere. Danny Green has been. We don't want to talk about him. But and then been some games where Dwight has shown flashes here and there. We need to establish who the number 3 is coming into the series, because inconsistent, like I said, you cannot give Miami this much, because they're going to take it and run with it. But ultimately, I'm going with Lakers in 6, man.
Okay, and I'm happy you said that regarding, who's going to be the third guy, because for Miami, it can be anybody. Because for Miami, you don't know who's the first guy going to be. Yeah. Because one game it could be Bam, the other game it could be Jimmy, one game it could be Hero, the next it could be Duncan, one game it could be Jay Crowder. It doesn't matter. It's all over the place, because they can score from anywhere. Right. Now, when it comes to size, and I think this is something that's very important, because Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, those guys' minutes depend on the teams they play against. When they played against Houston, you didn't see minutes. Why? Because Houston's small ball. They can't guard those three-point shooters. So they're not going to get those minutes. That now gives the advantage in the rebounding, most likely to the other team, because in the case of, PJ Tucker and Russell Westbrook, those guys are go-getters when it comes to getting rebounds. Right. And surprisingly, the Lakers didn't out-rebound them by much, if I'm not mistaken. Right. But with Miami, they're not some super rebounding team, but those guys can go and get boards. Tyler Hero, if I'm not mistaken, he's averaged 7 boards, 8 boards in this past series. Bam Adebayo is going to go and get his boards. Jay Crowder's going to go and get his boards. Jimmy Butler's going to go and get his boards. And there's no doubt in my mind, Eric Spoelstra is telling his team right now, you guys have to rebound. Everybody. Dragic, get your European ass down there. Go and rebound. I may put on my jersey and go and rebound. Somebody go and get boards. So if the Heat go out there and they play their brand of small ball, Dwight's not going to be there. JaVale McGee's not going to be there. So now you got to wonder how the Lakers are going to play. And with these guys off the court, you're going to need the scoring of Kyle Kuzma. You're going to need the scoring of a KCP. You're going to need the three-point shooting of a Danny Green. Somebody's going to have to step up. And because you got the question mark of who that number 3 is going to be, the Lakers need a solidified guy getting 15 a night outside of LeBron, outside of AD. Or they're going to need an additional 3 in double figures. So if you don't get one who's averaging 15, you're going to need 3 who at least get you 10. You're going to need at least get you 10. But I'll ask you this much. Regarding this Lakers team, because I felt the same way about the Lakers. I felt there was something weird about LeBron this year. And I said, if Miami don't go the distance, I do want LeBron to walk away with a championship here. Right. Because if there was ever a time, now's the time. Especially with the passing of Kobe. Right. That didn't usurp my feelings for the Miami Heat, because I'm bleeding Heat El Caliente till I die. Right. All right? But if there was ever a team outside of my Miami Heat to walk away with the championship, it's got to be the Lakers. But let me tell you something. Regarding LeBron's legacy here,
it's huge. Right.
He must win.
Has to.
You cannot afford to lose. And if you lose, the manner in which you lost is what matters. Because if Bron goes out there and puts on a virtuoso performance like he did the 2018 season and he still loses, now you look like, yo, wait a minute now. Because AD, you're supposed to be top 5 in the world. You ain't show up.
Right.
So for LeBron, this is a must-win series. Right. You cannot afford to lose. Bottom line, this is your second year in LA. You got your team from not even qualifying, 10th in the West. Might add, this is the first time in NBA Finals history. You got 2 teams that never didn't qualify for the postseason. Now they're in the finals. Both teams were 10th in their conferences. But now we're sitting here like, LeBron, you've got to win. You lose here. You are 3-7. You are 3-7.
3-7 or
3-7 if he loses here. Because this is his 10th finals berth. So let me ask you, what do you think is important here for LeBron? How will this affect his legacy, win or loss?
Well, right now, LeBron is 3-6 in the finals, right? If he wins, that will put him at 4-6. So, and you got to think about what happens here if he wins. First and foremost, if he wins, now he'll be able to say that he has officially brought a championship to every organization that he's ever played for. That's huge, right? And for me, I would say that I don't think this is the most pressure he's ever been under to get a ring. I would say that was with his when he first came to Miami to get that first ring. That was when he was under the most pressure. But this is right there behind it. Some people might say, well, when he went back to Cleveland, that was the second most of my pressure. No. Because I think when he went back to Cleveland, there was never really nobody really thought that they were going to be able to get it done. Especially since they kept going up against the Golden State Warriors. But right here, right now, everybody is expecting for this Los Angeles Lakers team to get the job done. So, when you think about everything that's at stake, talking about that, the championship pedigree that comes with being a Laker, the passing of Kobe. If he loses, he goes 3-7. If he wins, he could say he brought a championship to every organization. This is must win for LeBron James, especially considering the main thing that I mentioned earlier, age. I don't know. There's only so much time. There's only so many more seasons that LeBron can defy Father Time. Absolutely. Nobody saw this coming in year 17. I don't care who you are. We knew that he was going to be great. We didn't know he was going to do this. You understand? And who's to say that next year won't be the year where he slowly but surely starts to dissipate? So that's why I kept saying this has to be the year where they get it done. So if they don't, we don't know what the Los Angeles Clippers are going to look like coming into next season, depending on, them getting kicked out this early might be a motivating factor for them to come back next year and do what everybody thought they was going to do, which is win it all. You understand? The Celtics are only going to get better. You understand what I'm saying? And if matter of fact, if we're staying in the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets are scary. Yeah, the Denver Nuggets are scary. We don't know what's going to happen with the Houston Rockets. There's so many. Hell,
even Portland too. They might be making moves. There's a ton of Dallas. A lot of different. So
with Luka Doncic, this is the year to get it done. I don't necessarily want to get into the whole GOAT, Mount Rushmore time. That's a whole separate conversation. But LeBron James has to. I repeat, has to get it done this year. So it is imperative that he wins for his legacy. Because, and to your point, if he loses, but it doesn't necessarily fall on his shoulders because he showed up and he put up a virtuoso performance and AD doesn't show up or the rest of the team just gags and chokes, whatever it may be. it still hurts his legacy because now you're 3-7.
Yeah.
But we will all be able to look back on it the same way we looked at 2018 series and be like, all right, well, I mean, look at his numbers. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
But you have to. I mean, you have to come out with the victory and get your 4th ring, Bron. It's a must. What about
and also, just to add to it, another thing that can affect the legacy here in a positive manner is every time LeBron's won a championship, he's been the Finals MVP. So nobody in NBA history has ever been the Final MVP on 3 different franchises. That's right. Yeah. So not only will LeBron bring a championship to every team that he's played for, he would now become the Finals MVP 3 times. Because there's no doubt in my mind, Anthony Davis, he'll get him involved.
He'll get his.
But there is no. If you watch the postseason, you see LeBron is far and away the Lakers' best player. Anthony Davis didn't average over 5 boards against Denver. There was 3 consecutive games he didn't get a bucket, or I should say, he didn't get a board until the second half.
Right.
Bron was averaging damn near a triple-double. This guy was doing it all.
Right.
So there's no doubt in my mind.
Year 17.
Exactly. Bron is the best player on that team.
Yes,
so although if they lose here and he still balls out, he'll still take a shot.
Right.
But for me, this season, it's everything. The stars have aligned.
Yeah.
This is probably the biggest favorable, sort of matchup that LeBron has had ever in an NBA Finals.
Right.
So he's got to get the job done. Right. Bar none, no excuses. If you got to go out there and average 40, do so. If you got to go and average 15 assists, do so. But like you said earlier, although LeBron, or I should say, I've said LeBron loves to vet, but like you counteracted, he cannot afford to go and vet. Because Miami will bite at those. They will notice, all right, you guys are playing slow, let's pick up the tempo.
Yeah.
And more importantly, because it's the NBA Finals now, I'm pretty sure Miami understands, we can't do what we did in Game 5 against Boston. No. We can't sit over here and, not be so aggressive. We can't do what we did in Game 3 against Boston. And then all of a sudden we're going to come out flat and try to be the comeback kids, although we're capable of coming from behind and taking our receipt to the sperm bank and getting our comeback. We can't just sit over here and continually wait. You got to go and attack. So I expect this finals to probably be the best brand of basketball that we've seen since 2016.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's going to be highly competitive.
Yep.
It's going to be very exciting. Yeah. You're going to be seeing a lot of guys who you didn't expect to see step up. Those guys are going to step up, and I expect this to go to distance, man. I can't wait.
It's going to be a sensational series. It's going to be a sensational series. So, like I said, why you guys are watching this on Wednesday, tonight Tonight is the night of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. We'll be tuning in to a show. You'll be tuning in. And we can't wait to talk about it next week on the next episode. But for this episode, you understand, we got another team in LA that we want to focus on.
Oh yeah,
the little brother of LA. The
more
team,
like the distant cousin,
the creepy uncle, if you will.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We talk about the Los Angeles Clippers. News came out today, the day that we're recording this podcast, that Doc Rivers has officially been fired. Like,
they had the mutual parting, but usually when they tell you, it's like, Steve Ballmer will pretty much say, so I don't want to fire you. But you're going to have to resign.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations.
It was respecting.
And Doc was like, what do you mean? So they told him, you got to dip. Because the Clippers got clipped out the playoffs. And Denver done shut down that barbershop. And they told Doc, you no longer got a chair.
Yeah. You don't work.
So when we open up our stores, when we open up our business the following year,
get out of here.
We need a different barber.
Get out.
To hold these Clippers.
Leave.
And Doc is out.
Yeah,
so with Doc out.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people are wondering who should be the Clippers' next coach. Because for me, with the way that they let Doc go, especially knowing his stature, now we've already talked about the legacy of Doc and things of that nature, where he's kind of taking a hit because now this is 3 times that you've blown a 3-1 lead.
On
top
time
of
with Orlando, second time with the Clippers. Well, second
and third with the Clippers. Yeah.
Woo!
So because that's the case. Now you've got to wonder, is he as good as we thought he was? Although he is the most winningest Clippers coach of all time. But I'm a bit perplexed because I don't know who the Clippers can hire that can take this team to the promised land. Because to be quite honest with you, I don't think it was Doc's fault that they lost. But they needed a scapegoat. They needed a fall guy, so it fell on his shoulders to be the one to kick out. Because you just spent your future on Paul George. You can't get rid of him.
Yeah.
You're done, bent over backwards, entered from behind to get Kawhi. You can't get rid of him. You got 2 6 Man of the year. It don't make no sense to get rid of them. Dirty, dusty, never took a shower, Patrick Beverly. Going home, stinky. But somehow coming back to the building, stinky. He's not going to be let go either. Somebody had to get the door. Somebody had to go see the door, and that was Doc. Yeah. So who the hell is supposed to take over in the new regime of the Clippers? Because I don't know.
Well, before I give who I personally think would be the best fit to take over for Doc Rivers, I want to start off by saying, personally, I don't think Doc should have got fired. I understand why he got fired, because it's one thing if the it's not just who they lost to. Mm-hmm. It's not just when in the playoffs they lost, but it's how you lost.
Absolutely.
You're up 3-1. Mm-hmm. You're notoriously you as a head coach. This is going to be your third time blowing a 3-1 lead. The last time that you did it was on with the same exact franchise, mm-hmm. and you lose not to the Lakers, not to the Trailblazers, to the Nuggets. Well, no, granted, the Nuggets are legit. They're the truth. You understand? Mm-hmm. They are a championship caliber team. However, you got to think about it. Coming into the season, the LA Clippers mantra, everything that it was about them was about one thing: beat Braun. That's it. Beat Braun. If they had made it to the Western Conference Finals, faced the Lakers, and lost in like 7, Doc Rivers would have kept his job.
Absolutely.
If they had made it, even if they had made it to the Conference Finals, went up 3-1, and then blew the lead, I still think Doc Rivers, because it's like, at least we made it. We almost got there. Because I don't even think the Clippers have ever been to a Conference Finals.
Never.
So that they would have broken that barrier, right? And they would have gotten to Braun. And, I think Steve Ballmer would have looked at it like, all right, now we got a little bit of experience, run it back. And he would have let Doc Rivers come back in this next season. But you lose in the second round, blowing a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets?
And more importantly, not only blowing the 3-1 lead, but blowing the lead while having a 3-1 lead.
3 times.
19-point lead, 18-point lead, 12-point lead. 3 consecutive games, you blew leads.
Doc, come on, Doc. You understand? But to your point, somebody had to fall on the sword. It was Doc. But it hurts me because, and once again, I'm going to get into who I think should be the coach. It hurts me because, I want to ask you about this because I don't know if you'll appreciate this or not. I think Doc Rivers is kind of what Doc Rivers is to the NBA. Stay with me. Is like what Mike Tomlin is to the NFL. I think with Doc Rivers, now stay with me. I know you might disagree. I'm talking about in terms of being a player's coach, being this coach that garners a certain level of respect, and is one of those things where like you can't see him as anything but a head coach. Like Doc Rivers is going to get another head coaching job.
Absolutely.
And wherever he goes, even if it doesn't work out there, he's going to get another head coaching job after that.
Yep.
This man was never going to work as an assistant ever again in his life. You understand? Same thing goes with Mike Tomlin. Granted, of course, he's had more success in his field than of course Doc Rivers has. But I'm talking about in terms of a respectability factor, in terms of who they are and what they represent.
Leader of men.
You understand?
Yes.
So I just wanted to run that by you. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But now, who is going to replace Doc Rivers? There's only one man that would be a perfect fit for this job, and that man is Ty Lue. You got to think about it. Remember, the mantra, what this Clippers team is all about is one thing only: beat Braun. So when they put this team together, everything they did, you got to think about the players that comprise the team. You have a Kawhi Leonard, you understand, who media and a lot of other different people have pitted up against LeBron James. You got to even think about some of the late season acquisitions they made. They're adding players like Joakim Noah, who basically fell out of the league, but is known for his little back and forth with LeBron and things of that nature, and goes on and on. You need a coach that's going to come into this position that has championship experience, right? Which Ty Lue has, both as a player and as a coach.
Yep.
You need someone that has experience dealing with superstar talent and egos. Ty Lue has done that. Why? Because he's coached Braun, which brings you to my next point. You need someone, and would prefer to want someone that has experience dealing with Braun, who knows Braun's in and out. Ty Lue has that. Moreover, he's already been a part of that coaching staff. So it's not like you're bringing an outsider into the job. You're bringing someone in that has experience, that's been in that locker room, and is also a player's coach, a coach that, I personally thought he was going to get the Brooklyn Nets job after Kenny Atkinson got fired.
Yeah.
This would be a perfect opportunity for Ty Lue because I believe that I didn't believe he deserved to get fired from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
that was atrocious. I believe it was 6 games in.
Yeah, and they just let him go because their belief was that he was a byproduct of Braun, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I believe that Ty Lue deserves to be a head coach in the league, and I don't think any position would be better fit for him right now than to get the Los Angeles Clippers job. What are your thoughts?
That's fair. That's a fair assessment because I was looking at more of a maybe a Sam Cassell, because I was very befuddled about it because I'm not too sure who can just step in, because I think the Clippers are a players-run organization where the players move and then the coaches follow rather than the coaches lead and the players follow.
Right.
So I thought maybe Sam Cassell, being a former player before, being on that coaching staff. Okay. Now, granted, the man is just on the staff. I can't recall if Sam Cassell ever was a head coach. I don't believe he was.
No, never.
But whatever the case was, I just thought somebody in-house. But now thinking about it, I don't think there's a single person who can be a better coach for them than Ty Lue. But I do think, although they are primarily, on the defensive side, they need to bring somebody in who can, get that team ready so that they're consistent in every series.
Well, I'm thinking about the candidates that they have available to them. I know Nate McMillan lost his job in
Yes, he lost his job in Indiana.
Kenny Atkinson is still floating out there. Mike D'Antoni is out there. So there's a couple other head coaching candidates. But like I said, when you look at who's available, you just can't. For me personally, Ty Lue literally checks off every box and then some. I think he would be a perfect fit. And like I said, he fits the mantra of what they want because he has experience with Braun. Yes. You understand? So I think it would be a great fit. I mean, realistically speaking, I couldn't see Sam Cassell getting it, especially considering that he's never even had a head coaching job to begin with. Ty Lue, on the other hand, has. Ty Lue is going to get the job. If he doesn't, I want to see who they're going to go with, because damn sure not going to be D'Antoni. So,
because that's the name that because when you said D'Antoni, it wouldn't work. It would be very interesting to see a team that's defensive minded now take on a D'Antoni. Yeah. I wish there was a way that you could, in 2K, add a coach to a team. That's funny. And just see how it plays out. How it play out. Like, would they shift their mentality? Because D'Antoni's just, we score more points than you, and we hope to God we can get enough stops. Yeah. But you have defensive stoppers that are there who their mentality is, we play defense. Right. They wouldn't be an organization that says, all right, so we're going to shift to offense and defense be damned. Kawhi's identity, defensive. Paul George is a good defensive player. Trez is great. Patrick Beverly, he just out there running, but sometimes he does okay.
He trick y'all, man.
Yeah, it's a genjutsu pop.
He trick y'all, man. He be running.
Whatever the case may be, man, maybe Tyler, because I feel like it's long overdue. This brother is a head coach somewhere. Right. So get that brother a job. There's a lot of candidates that are out there, but I think that's a good assessment. I agree with you there. Well, definitely. Tyler. Tyler for sure.
I'm looking forward to, like I said, we're definitely the Clippers are not in the finals. We're focused on the finals as of now.
Absolutely, because since they're not in the finals, they're the least of our worries. Like your NFC least. You see, I'm still transition king. Yeah, but your division, brother. Let's go back to the NFL. Your division is atrocious. Like you said, you think they should just be banished to the Shadow Realm. They shouldn't even be part of the National Football, League. Maybe there should only be 28 teams in the NFL. Maybe the whole NFC League should be kicked to the side. Because from what I'm seeing right now, first and foremost, the Eagles, 3 years removed from winning the Super Bowl, look terrible right now. Terrible. The Giants, the Washington football team, right? These guys, after week one, now you're seeing the injury bug go all over the place. They have no identity. Dallas, these guys can't finish a game. I still think they're the foreign, runaway best team in the division. But what are your thoughts on your division? Because the way I see it, 6-10 can mess around and win this division, bro. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Get it together.
You want to know what team looks most pathetic in the NFC least? We're not even going to give them the courtesy of calling it that division NFC East. It's the least. We're going to call them the least until they show us something. You want to know what team looks most pathetic? I hate to say it, but it's the truth. You want to know what team looks most pathetic?
The Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, the Cowboys. You want to know why the Dallas Cowboys look most pathetic? Because on paper, they should at least be 10-6. The minimum. Yep. You understand?
Absolutely.
9-7 maybe. You understand? Because, they have problems closing out games. But on paper, they should be 10-6. We understand that their offensive line is not what it used to be. We understand that their defense is suspect. You understand? But offensively, O-line aside, all the pieces are there. You have your star running back. You understand? You have your quarterback. You have arguably, I think coming into the season, our wide receiving core was, if not the best, definitely top 3, top 5. You understand? CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson came the fuck out of nowhere. Yep. You understand? Everything is in position for the new head coach. Super Bowl winning head coach, Mike McCarthy. And for some reason, we just can't get it done. And what's funny is that right now, we're 1-2. We should be 0-3. The Atlanta Falcons literally said, here, you can have it, and gave us the W because them mofo, the people on special teams don't know how to fall on the football. That's a whole other conversation for another time. I am so disgusted with my team. And I'm one of those fans where I'm one of the very few Cowboys fans where I'm not irrational. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this and that. I know I finished off the last episode, but that was me speaking, you understand, trying to speak some hope into my team. And then I saw what the hell happened against the Seahawks. It's over. I think it's clipped. I don't know what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. We are going to underperform for the rest of the season and show flashes. That's what we're going to do. We're going to show flashes of what we should be all throughout the season. You understand? We're going to finish the season 8-8, 9-7. It's either going to be 7-9, 8-8, or 9-7. Because I think last year, what team won the division? Was it Eagles?
Yeah.
What was the record? Was it 7?
9-7.
We're going to finish 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, and we're going to get slapped by whatever team is the 3rd or 4th seed. Most likely the Saints, because I think that the number 1 and 2 seed is going to be the Packers and what's the name, Seattle. So it's going to be the Saints or whatever other team. We're going to get clapped. You understand? Dak is not going to be a Cowboy after this season. You can forget about that. With the way that he's playing, you understand, throwing that game-ending interception after the last game, Dak, brother, I don't know what you're playing for, but it's not for an extension. No, let me finish. It's over. It's over. I'm hurt. I'm heartbroken. I'm one game away from throwing away my Dak Prescott shirt. You've seen it. I warned it on a couple of episodes. I can't do this. This was supposed to be the season for us to at least make the conference championships. It don't look like it's happening. I know what you're saying is, well, football doesn't start until week 5, week 6. Damn, week 5 or week 6. It's over. It's over. You can talk. It's over.
Well, he is leading the league in passing.
1 and 2.
I mean,
1 and 2.
But what about game 1? It went down to the wire.
Right.
Yeah, game 3, it also went down to the wire.
Right.
I mean, you're right there.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a 50-50, sort of games where you just happen to lose.
Right.
It's not like you were out of all of the games.
1 and 2. That's all. You can sit here and read all the stats and say Dak is leading in this. Well, Ezekiel Elliott is looking like this and me. Oh, now this. By the way, Alden Smith balling out. He will be. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he'll definitely be a finalist. T.J. Watt is going to win.
He'll be a finalist for Comeback Player.
Oh, Comeback Player of the Year. I think he might be a finalist.
Cam might mess around and win, but then again, Alden Smith's story is a little bit better.
5 years out the league, absolutely ridiculous. Shout outs to you, brother.
Yeah, leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, sorry you had to deal with this mediocrity. You deserve better. But 1 and 2. Don't talk to me about stats. This league is all about one thing and one thing only. Win the football game. I don't know. Who do we play next week? I think we play the Browns. The Browns might clap us too. I don't know. This is tough. And it sucks because if you go down the list, the Giants, they lost Saquon. Daniel Jones is underperforming. They look like a shell of themselves. Yep. They're still figuring things out. You understand?
Absolutely. Rebuild.
The Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz looks like the worst quarterback in football right now. Yeah, it's very, very bad.
It's bad.
It's scary to the point where Jalen Hurts, and I told you last game, Jalen Hurts, and he's been in, I mean, they've used him as decoys and shit like that, but Jalen Hurts might be starting before the end of the season. Remember, I called it, if Wentz keeps this up. The Washington football team, it's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. This is looking tough. I don't want to talk about the Cowboys no more. I don't want to talk about the NFL and NFC leagues anymore. I want to talk about the happy things. Let's talk about the positive that's going on in the NFL right now. Let's talk about players that have shown up and shown out in this upcoming season. I'm talking about players where coming into this season, they were all right, they were cool, but you didn't see this coming. That have been balling so far through week 3 of the NFL season. For you, if you had to choose a player and say that their performance this season has surprised you thus far, who would that player be?
I would have to say, first and foremost, I'd just throw out Alden Smith there because nobody saw this coming.
Nobody.
He's on everybody's list for who the never saw this one coming, right? Yeah. But outside of Alden Smith, I got to say Josh Allen. Because although I expected him to improve, I was never a believer in this man's arm. Because when it came to the postseason game and he choked it away against the Texans, I said, man, I don't know if I could believe in this, bro.
Right.
And he has lit it up in the first 3 games.
Right.
You talk about one pick that he's thrown. He's got 10 TDs. He's over 100, passer rating and all this other stuff, and damn near all the games. This man's balling for an undefeated Buffalo Bills. They almost blew 28-3 lead against the Rams. Yeah. But somehow they're able to come up with the victory. A lot of people are talking, well, what about the flags? Regardless, they 3-0. Josh Allen is balling, and he's the undisputed leader of this team. Usually when you think Buffalo, you think of that running game getting the job done. Right. Oh, no, this time it's not the running game and the defense. It's Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Right. This man walks into Buffalo Wild Wings out here in Buffalo, New York, and makes sure they got all the sauce because he's got it. That man is balling, man.
He's balling out.
Give that brother his flowers.
Hey.
I did not see this coming from Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. So far, it's still extremely early. Let's see how the season progresses. But so far, through 3 games, 71% completion percentage. Mm-hmm. He's thrown for 1,038 yards, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception. Yep. Now, here's the thing about Josh Allen. We always knew he had a rocket for an arm, right? It's right now, it's between him and Mahomes for who has the strongest arm in the league right now. Mm-hmm. The question has always been his passing ability, right? His accuracy down the field. But what's funny about Josh Allen is that if you look at his numbers from his first season up until now, from season 1 to season 2, he progressed. Yep. It wasn't a significant progression, but it was a progression nonetheless, right? So coming into this season, you would have assumed that he was gonna, like he said, take another step. But no, he didn't just take a step. Mans took a leap because nobody saw this coming. I'm looking at this guy, and behind the scenes, I'm sending you clips of him like every other day. Like, yo, he is balling. Yep. You understand?
Running people over too.
Running people over. This man is making plays. Let's give credit to the Bills front office. I think the addition of Stephon Diggs has been huge for them right now.
Absolutely.
I think Diggs right now is in top 5. I think he's number 4 in terms of receiving
yards.
And he's been a very, very big addition to that passing attack for the Buffalo Bills. But all in all, from what I'm seeing from Josh Allen, I'm loving it. I think he's only going to get better from here, just as long as he can just protect the football and not turn it over, which he's done a good job of thus far. Yeah. And another thing that we shouldn't forget, and we won't forget because this is what he was notorious for earlier on, Mans is athletic.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a dual threat quarterback. Yep. So as his passing ability gets better and better throughout the games, you understand, you still have to remember that as a runner of the football, he's just as lethal. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from this Buffalo Bills team. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him, and I think that this is the year where he will get his first Pro Bowl, and I think if he continues playing like this throughout the duration of his career, he will become a perennial Pro Bowl player.
Yeah, I love what I'm seeing. Yeah, not only that, also it's a possibility. I don't think he's going to get that first team All Pro nod. He can probably battle to see if he can get the second, because I think first team All Pro that's going to be rough, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But with Josh, the way that this brother's playing, not only do I think the Bills can mess around, and I initially had them slotted to win the division, but I'm kind of concerned about, Patriots are right there and Cam is balling. So I'm not sure how this could play, but I think the Bills can mess around and get a first round bye.
Interesting.
With the way that they're playing.
Really?
Because they're playing very, very good football. Now, granted, you played the Jets, you played the Dolphins, and then you finally got tested with the Rams, and you nearly lost the lead. Mm-hmm. But the way that Josh Allen's playing football, you see the confidence it's there. You see the team rallying around him. Right. So I'm excited for the brother. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really look at the MVP race until about week 8, week 9, week 10. But he's inserted himself in there.
Most definitely. But and before I get into that, another player I wanted to talk about who I think that has been was underrated last season, but definitely is going to get his fair share of shine this season. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Aaron Jones, man. Listen, so far throughout the season, Aaron Jones 50 carries, 303 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per carry. Granted, a big help was the game they just played against Detroit where he balled out, but. Right now he's second in rushing behind, of course, your guy. Derek.
Henry.
There you go. He's second right now. But I think it's only by like 13 yards or whatever, maybe. I think this is the year where he as well makes his first Pro Bowl, because when you look at his numbers from last season, he had a pretty good season.
But he didn't go to the Pro Bowl. He led the league in touchdowns.
He led the league in touchdowns.
He didn't get the nod. I could have swore he got in as a reserve.
Didn't get the nod.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, but he had a little bit over 1,000 yards rushing throughout the season. Remember, coming into, I think they played last season, they played my Cowboys week 4, and his numbers coming into that game weren't really impressive. So I wasn't really checking for him. And boy, oh boy, was I wrong, because he ran all over my defense that game. And from that moment on, he's been on my radar. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him so far. And he didn't. You see, you double check it out. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. I was just surprised. He had 16 rushing touchdowns.
I could have sworn he got in. No,
did not get in.
Everybody makes it into the Pro Bowl.
Everybody makes it in the Pro Bowl. Aaron Jones is not everybody. It's absolutely
crazy.
It's more than crazy. But I will say this: I'm loving what I'm seeing from him, especially considering that right now with this Green Bay Packers offense, they've been balling out, and he's been a huge help for Aaron Rodgers because he's been able to open up the play action pass attack for them. So I love it. I love what I'm seeing from Aaron Jones, and like I said, this will be the year where he gets, if he keeps playing like this, he's going to get his first Pro Bowl nod. But you mentioned something a little bit earlier. You talked about MVP, brother.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that on the last episode, and we're going to have to talk about it again on this episode, because one of the players that I mentioned, Dangerous Wilson, Russell Wilson has been balling.
Oh, absolutely. 14 touchdowns. In fact, he broke Patrick Mahomes' record for the most touchdowns through three games.
Yep.
See, Patrick Mahomes said, I got 13. Well, guess what? Russell said, I got 14.
Yeah.
I got 14. Only one interception that he has, but that was off the hands of Greg Olsen, G-Reg. You know? What'd he do? Get ahead, drop his jaws, and then he showed the hardest, his third leg. Whatever the case was, brother's hands were just for decoration. It ended up being a pick six for Devin McCourty. Yeah. So realistically speaking, Russ has been ridiculously accurate. The man really should have 0 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He's got an undefeated Seattle Seahawks team, and this man is balling.
He's balling.
We both agreed this is going to be the Russ MVP season. And he came out here and said, I didn't get one vote. I ain't get one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you how great I am.
Balling out.
And he is balling. This man's on another level. We've seen some sensational quarterback play. Like we just talked about, Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes, we watched it this Monday night. Mm-hmm. Brother had 5 total touchdowns, I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Aaron Rodgers, who's balling out of his mind as well. Right. I think he's like 121 passer rating. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen's got 124 passer rating. Mm-hmm. Mahomes, we don't even need to talk about that. But Russ, I think it's like 143 or something like that right now. This doesn't make sense. This brother playing Madden on easy mode. You set up a zone, he's got he sees the hole in the ozone layer. You want to play man, your man can't keep up with his man. Mm-hmm. Realistically speaking, he should have 6 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But DK Metcalf had a Deshaun Jackson moment. Mm-hmm. You got to be kidding me. Russell Wilson right now. Mm-hmm.
He's that
right now.
He's that boy.
He is the best quarterback in the league. We got to stop talking about all these younger guys, man. We talking about Patrick Mahomes. I understand the arm talent. It's there.
On his name.
It's there. Yeah. All right? No disrespect to Patrick Mahomes. No disrespect whatsoever. But we've got to take into account Russ has been ascending year in, year out. We keep getting caught up with these young guys, man. Right. No disrespect to Mahomes. You could take that number 2 spot, all right?
But right now,
Russ
is different.
Man.
He's in his bag like no other, bro.
This brother on fire, bro.
For me, I'm going to go, I think, to your point, Russell Wilson has been the most impressive quarterback throughout the season this far. I mean, I mentioned Josh Allen's number. When you look at Aaron Rodgers right now, 67% completion percentage. He's thrown for 887 yards, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. Especially considering that his number 1 wide receiver option, Devontae,
he's out again.
He's out. How long is he gonna be? I know he has a hamstring issue.
I think they said it was 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps a month.
Got you.
It's always some lower extremity for this guy.
But I mean, Lazard has stepped up. Valdez Scantling has stepped up. The tight ends on that team have stepped up, and Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things. You understand? But Russell Wilson, 77 completion percentage. Thrown for 925 yards, 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. To your point, should be 15 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Had it not been for Greg Butterfingers Olsen and DK Metcalf, he wasn't really showboating, but he kind of didn't know, I guess.
Yeah, he slowed up.
He slowed up. Trevante Diggs knocked it out of his hands. So it should be 15 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. But Russell Wilson, man, he's thrown more touchdowns through his first 3 games than any other quarterback in NFL history. Mm-hmm. He's nearly completing 80% of his passes. But the biggest reason why I think that Russell Wilson, compared to an Aaron Rodgers and compared to a Josh Allen, has been the most impressive quarterback through the first 3 weeks of this season, is that he is the only quarterback amongst the other 2 that were mentioned that is playing this great in spite of his team. What do I mean by that? Defensively, the Seahawks are probably the worst team in football right now. Right there next to the Falcons. It's bad. It's really bad. And we Jamal Adams got hurt in the last game. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be available for the next game, but that's an even bigger hit on what was already a problem for them. Like it's looking rough. And then offensively, even though the pieces are there, that O-line is not getting the job done in terms of protecting Russell Wilson. I think he's gotten sacked 9 times already this season. That's not even considering quarterback hits and pressures. Yep. So Russell Wilson right now is doing everything that he's doing in spite of playing. And you know this better than I do. The defense has to show up because they help take pressure off of the offense in terms of having to come back in and making sure they put points on the board. Because the defense has been as bad as it has been, and the offensive line has been trash, and yet Russell Wilson is still putting up the numbers that he's putting. Absolutely sensational.
Yeah, I had to go and look because I knew he got sacked 9 times, but I was trying to remember how much points Atlanta had scored, and then it was in my mind. I'm like, they scored 25 on them, didn't they? And I looked, 25. They gave up 30 against the Cowboys on this pass, and they gave up 31 or 32 up against the Patriots. Yeah. So they're giving up at least 3 touchdowns and a field goal, or maybe 4 touchdowns and a safety. Whatever the case is, the defense ain't stopping a soul.
Nothing.
And we've seen teams like this. a la Aaron Rodgers, where offensively you could fire on all kinds of cylinders.
Right.
But if you can't stop nobody, you're not going to win no championships. Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 52, you saw Philly go score 41 points. You saw New England score 33. What was the play of the game? A strip sack.
Yeah.
Defense has to bring it home. And as great as Russell Wilson has been playing, which is already sensational, man's on pace to beat Peyton Manning's record.
Easily.
But if you can't stop nobody, what does it all mean?
Yeah.
Defense has to step it up.
Has to.
Do not let Russell Wilson's season this year go for naught, son.
No.
You have to step it up, man.
If they're able to put things together in any way, shape, or form defensively, the Seahawks can find themselves back. If Russ, not even if, as Russ continues to play the way he's been playing, because I will no longer tolerate any disrespect to Danger Russ Wilson. It's just, he, like, to your point, remember coming into the league, everyone recognized him as a game manager because we understood that team was a Legion of Boom beast mode team. Now it is no longer the case. This is a Russell Wilson team.
Yep.
You understand? No disrespect or slander will be tolerated, and the Seahawks need to bust a move ASAP. I would tell y'all, depending on how long Jamal Adams is going to be out, you should probably look at getting Earl Thomas, but I don't think that will work. But
yeah, probably.
Y'all better figure it out, man, because this man is not going to play like this for him to get sent home early in the playoffs. It's just not happening. You understand?
Oh, also up front, if I'm not mistaken, in that Sunday game, Mike Iupati and I think about two of the people up front had gotten hurt.
I think so, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Now, I don't know the severity of the injuries.
Right.
Now, you guys can let me know in the comment section. You can let us know during the premiere. But they had guys who got hurt up front.
Right.
So not only is your defense not performing, if this man continue, remember, years back, he was running for his life. And we thought maybe up front it had gotten a step forward. But with injuries, if they can't protect him, he's doing all these virtuoso performances, and he's going to die back there.
He's going to get killed.
Help this man.
Help him immediately.
Help him.
He needs help. All right, he needs help, just as much help as the NFL does, because right now I don't even know if we'll be getting any more football moving forward, because down in Tennessee, there's a little thing floating around called COVID-19.
Oh yeah, out in Minnesota too.
Yeah, out in Minnesota too, and it is not looking good. Yes, you heard it here first. If you didn't hear it at all, I believe it was reported that 5 people on there. I think it was 3 personnel, 2 players, or 3 players, 2 personnel, whatever it may be, on the Tennessee Titans tested positive for COVID-19, and I believe that all their facilities were closed. I believe they play you guys this upcoming Sunday.
Yes, they play Pittsburgh this upcoming Sunday.
But there are talks about the game possibly getting pushed to Monday and all these other different things. I didn't know. Does Minnesota also have some positive tests as well? Because
I think they were involved in there, but so because they had played against them, I think there's a possibility there could be positive individuals, or they had to shut down their stuff as well. So so nobody really too sure what's going on.
It's a lot of pandemic, make the man them panic floating around, and I gotta ask you right now, brother. With the recent news coming out with Tennessee, we're still waiting to hear what's going to happen with the Minnesota Vikings. How will this affect the rest of the NFL season?
Well, for one, because with COVID, they're talking about you have to be self-quarantined for 2 weeks or something of that nature.
Oh, shit.
If everybody has to quarantine, what do you now do for the actual team? Because everybody would have to quarantine. You can't just say, well, because there are people who end up getting it with no symptoms.
Right.
There are things where it could develop late.
Right.
Nobody has a concrete sort of test or things of that nature. So what happens here? A lot of the people are talking about pushing back games, but that also messes with whether it's advertising or the production of games, because you can have all this advertisement for certain Monday night games. All of a sudden, you got to slot and flex a game that was supposed to be on CBS or Fox, and now all of a sudden this being broadcast by ABC or broadcast by ESPN, or maybe you're going to have to throw it on the network or things of that nature. So who knows what's going to happen moving forward. And on top of that, with Tennessee and Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, Pittsburgh plays Baltimore following the bye week. Tennessee plays Baltimore following their bye week as well. I think it's like a week 8, week 9 sort of situation, or week 7, week 8 for both of those teams. So they can slot their games and push it back and accelerate their bye week to the upcoming this week. It can work good for them. But for Minnesota, that's not the case. So I'm not sure how the NFL plans to go about things. Now, you can wait and say that, like when we talked about a little bit earlier, where they're pushing the game back to Monday. maybe that may work, but because of how long certain people have to quarantine and things of that nature, it really gives you cause to pause. Because like, what if you're an organization like Pittsburgh, or you're an organization like whoever's going up against Minnesota, you don't want to expose yourself to that situation. And if a team wants to back out, how can Goodell and the powers that be say no, you can't do that? It doesn't make sense. Right. So I'm in a little bit of fear here for the NFL, because moving forward they're going to be even more strict than they already were. Perhaps they might have to implement a bubble sort of system. Well, but it's extremely tough, because now you're confining, instead of 15 players and then you have a ton of different staff members, now you've got 53 plus, plus you have a practice squad that's there as well, and plus 40 plus, coaches and front office individuals. Per team. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm in fear of the season here.
Yeah, I'm in fear of the season too, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how they play this. You brought up the bubble. That was one thing I thought about too, because the beauty of the way that the NBA was able to do it was that, number one, the bubble was implemented going into the postseason. So the amount of games that needed to get played in order for the season to finish, eight games or whatever it may be. So now, because of, it was less games that needed to be played and things of that nature, and because when you think about the overall setup of the NBA, teams with less players on it, less personnel, things like that, you're going into the postseason, very limited games that needed to be played. It seemed doable. However, with the NFL, you talk about 53 players, and we're just talking about the players on the roster. We're not talking about practice squad and personnel and coaches and things like that. And you think about and on top of that, another thing with the NBA bubble is that all the teams didn't go. It was it was a select group of teams. With the NFL, would all 32 teams be reporting to a bubble where there's 50, 60, 70 plus people per team? Where would you go? How would this happen? There's still, there's been 3 games, 13 games left to play, not including the postseason. It's too complex. It's too many moving pieces. And by the way, it's too late. It's just, you wouldn't have enough time to implement it and get it done. It's just a lot of things that would need to take place. So I'm very concerned as well. I think that some things will have to get rescheduled to prevent the spreading of this. My biggest concern is if at least 2 more teams have any positive cases of COVID, we might see the NFL season get suspended, depending on which teams they are. Because, if it's just one team in Tennessee, they can afford to just, and on top of that, it's Tennessee. You just put them to the side. You feel what I'm saying? You put them to the side. You feel me? And
they went to the AFC Championship. You can't just disrespect Tennessee.
It's Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Like,
tighten up, baby.
Tighten up and keep COVID amongst yourselves and don't spread the shit so that the NFL season can finish. You understand? So we have to wait and see how these cases spread out and things of that nature. I'm holding hope, because I would love to see the season finish. It's set to be an amazing one, and we've seen some great football thus far. It'd be a shame if they weren't able to finish out. Worst case scenario, I think what would happen is maybe they shorten the season. That's another thing too. Just perhaps. That's another possibility too, because there's too many different things besides the television contracts and I think players associations and things of that nature. But we're holding faith, man, and we hope to see that this gets rectified as soon as possible. But ladies and gentlemen, that concludes episode number 29 of the Hold My Nuggets podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most, Marvin Francois.
And I am the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
You see that shirt? Go buy the merch. Make sure you go buy the merch on the website. We don't know when it's coming out. Maybe 2025. We'll figure it out. But this is the Hold My Nuggets podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you download this episode. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're watching you can't watch on Instagram, but follow us on Instagram as well and all our social media platforms at Hold My Nuggets. As always, like I said, I am Marvin Francois. This is the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. If you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Thank you. Good night.